top four is becoming a bigger and bigger possibility. Arteta outers, where are you? Where are the apologies? The corner is being turned. Another clean sheet. 100 games in, Arteta has turned the corner. He has shut a lot of his doubters down. And Emile Smith-Rowe with 3 in a row. Only the 4th player under the age of 21 to score in 3 Premier League games on the bounce. He joins the likes of Cesc Fabregas, Nicolas Anelka, and Antonio Reyes. God rest his soul. The brilliance of Smith-Rowe continues to grow and get better and better and better. Arsenal pushing hard to be inside that top 4. They are only behind West Ham Football Club on goal difference right now. West Ham, of course, go up against Liverpool. They might nick a point. They might nick a win against Liverpool, but I doubt it. Arsenal are looking like the best of the rest for the top 4 position. The likes of Leicester City dropping points again today. Spurs with no shots, I believe, on target. I haven't watched all their game. I've seen snippets of it, but no shots on target as well. And only 3 points behind Manchester City. And that was after 3 defeats on the bounce. I said it on the Friday night on the terrace. Arsenal's banter era is over. It's done. There is no more banter for Arsenal Football Club. They must be taken seriously. They must be taken seriously now. The improvements are there to be seen. There are lots of things to digest in this game as well. Lots of talking points on socials. Was there a foul on Sarr in the build-up to the goal? Why did the referee allow so many fouls in this game? I thought 2 or 3 Watford players could have seen red today. A very aggressive game. A lot let go by the referee at times today. So we want to digest the match, but we want to talk about Arsenal overall as well. Make sure like buttons are being smashed right now. Smash it right about now, baby. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the Football Terrace as well. I want to go to your comments. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know what you're feeling. I want to know what you're saying as well in relation to today's game. What we saying here? What are you saying? Smith-Rowe, look at this. E3 boss is happy here today. Jules says 3 points behind City. I can't believe it. You've turned a corner. There is a 100% corner that has been turned. I don't think that can be denied. I don't think that can be denounced. I don't think anybody can... nobody can say shit. They can't say shit about Arsenal right now. I'm a person, I like to see proof in the pudding. And every week, Arsenal get better. Every week, Arsenal get stronger. There are big acid tests on the way with the likes of Liverpool to come. And I think we're going to see a competitive Arsenal against Liverpool. I think we're going to see a better Arsenal against Liverpool. They may not win the game, but that isn't where Arsenal are right now. Arsenal are in a position where it is all about how can they progress to that next stage. Right now, top 4 challenging is on. I'm not saying they will make the top 4, but they are well within this race. Leicester, go through the names here. Look at the league table. Leicester, far too inconsistent right now. Wolves, too inconsistent. Tottenham, look, Tottenham will be in the race. Antonio Conte will turn it round there. Brighton will not have the staying power. West Ham are definitely in the race. Man United, I've said it yesterday, without a new manager, are out of the top 4 race. West Ham, Tottenham, Arsenal. Those 3 big London clubs are fighting it out for a top 4 place. United cannot do it with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and the rest don't have the squads or management to boot to get it done. Leicester, by the way, should be competing for it, but they're very, very inconsistent, and they're nowhere near the top 4 right now. They are sitting 12th. You know, they're sitting 12th. Yes, they're only 5 points away, but the consistency isn't there as far as I'm concerned. I also want the Arteta outers on the show today. Brandon, where are you? GOONER Express, EGAL, they all call for the manager to be sacked. I want to know if they're regretting that decision today because they look very, very strong indeed. First super chat of the day here has just come in, and that is from, where is it? There, here it is, from Nav. Nav says, nah, don't take the P. If Emile is world-class, it's okay. It's okay. Get small teams. We'll really see against the big boys way too early. My question in the poll is, will Smith-Rowe become world-class? Not he is world-class. I've not stated that Emile Smith-Rowe is world-class. I'm asking whether he will be. And that is my question for you all today. Will Emile Smith-Rowe become world-class? I need to know. The kid is so good. He's definitely going to become an icon. And a lot of people were getting on at him about his goal returns, his outputs. Outputs matter. Outputs matter. And he's now, I don't care how good you look, how techie you look, how class you look. I don't care about potential. I don't even care about ability to a degree. I care about end result, end product. Emile Smith-Rowe is now adding that to his game. He's young. He's brilliant. I like the fact he's English as well because it benefits my national team. I like how he wears his socks. He looks a star in the makings. But Gooners, I want to hear from you on the show today as well. We're going to open up the lines for you to call in very soon. Michael here says, Arsenal top 4 challengers. Wenger would be proud. Is the secret phrase in form? That does bring us on nicely to the competition. If you don't know about it, we'll tell you about it right now. So we are giving away a brand new Xbox 2 control pad, state-of-the-art Xbox, and a game of your choice, plus a limited edition Boohoo Man hoodie for you as well, adding an additional prize to the pool. The way you enter is simple. We have a secret phrase in this golden envelope you can see just over my right shoulder on your screens. If you super chat in and you guess the secret phrase right, you win the prize. It's first come, first served. The clue that we've given already is very simple. The clue is it doesn't happen straight away. That is the clue that's been given. If this stream hits 1,000 likes, that's the limit for every stream. We'll give you another clue towards guessing it. So get that in from us now. I'm going to start going to some calls. We've got a lot of people backstage already, like the Arsenal contingent as well. Let me go to this comment here from James. It's such a joy with all the banter we got, all the scrutiny about Arteta, great improvement defensively, Ben White proving his worth, great day for Gooners. It is. And look, when you're playing badly, it's right to be criticised. It's fair that people question it. And I think what bothers me at the moment about socials is I don't always believe everything I see. I challenge it. Doesn't mean I'm not willing to change my mind. And I think, you know, Arteta's proving me wrong. Do I care? I was wrong? No. Because I don't hear anybody coming to me going, oh, Terry, you were so right this summer about Tavares. Oh, you were so right about Lukaku. You were so right about Ben White. Oh, you were so right about Tomiyasu. I was wrong about Ramsdale. These things happen. I'm about talking about the here and now. What are we seeing right now? Arsenal are playing brilliantly. They are in this top. If they collapse and fall away from the top 4 race, we'll talk about that when it happens. But based on what I'm seeing, they are in the top 4 race. They've got some brilliant youngsters coming through. Smith-Rowe, Saka, amazing. Their signings of every single signing from the summer has been amazing so far this season. Have been amazing. That should be spoken about more. Conte hasn't had long, and defensively we look weak today. They looked better after shipping 3 goals in 3 games. Is the phrase top manager? The phrase is not top manager, but thank you for guessing. Joshua says Spurs are the same damn team under Nuno and Jose. Got lucky with VAR. I'm not fearful of them or Leicester, is what Joshua Jack has got to say. That's what Joshua Jack's got to say. Is the secret phrase sacked in the morning? The secret phrase is not sacked in the morning, but another very good guess there. Very good guess indeed. Right, my first caller of the day that I'm going to go to is going to be man like EGAL. Always backed his team to come good. Always backed this defense. Didn't back the manager, though. Very intrigued to know what he's got to say today. Smash that like and this share button. Let's go. EGAL.
Yes, Terry.
Yeah, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing good, man. 10 games unbeaten. The team is looking completely different from what it was the first 3 games of the season. I'm very happy with how the team's going, how we're winning games. As a fan, this is all I want to see. I want to see consistency. I want to see continuity, and I want to see us continue. The Liverpool game, I'm looking forward to it because that's the next big test. At the moment, we've been on a good run. I'm not going to get ahead of myself and say we're going to get top 4. I'm not going to get ahead of myself and say we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I need to see more of this. It's been, 11 games now? 11 games into the season. I did not expect us to be in this position. I don't think anyone really expected us to be in this position. And I'm happy the way the team's going. That's all I got to say. At this point, I'm very happy. Smith-Rowe, respect Smith-Rowe, guys. 6 goal contributions now in 11 games. Amazing. He could be one of those youngsters that a lot of people underestimate, and by the end of the year could just be like up there with the rest of the guys that everyone else talks about week in, week out. And Saka Saka, it's not about Saka today. It's about Smith Rowe. He's been on fire. Aubameyang had a poor game. Nuno Tavares once again showing what he's doing. He's good. He's a good left back. We have a situation there. Who do we pick going forward? Tavares or Tierney? Ramsdale once again amazing. Just had a little error there, but you know what? Luckily we didn't concede from that. Another clean sheet. This defense every single week, they're showing what I said to be true. We are starting to build a good defense. That back line's looking good. Ben White had a big part with the goal, with winning the ball where he did. I'm happy, bro. I'm just happy. Anyone who's making salt, you guys are throwing salt. I seen what you said, Terry, and I said it on your channel almost a year ago. I said Arsenal is building something. It might take us a while, but this whole banter era is not going to last forever. Enjoy your laughs when you can still laugh. But at this moment, we're looking serious.
I get you saying that. A few things I want to pick into. Firstly, you say that you're not getting ahead of yourself, and I understand that. But do you feel you're in the top 4 race?
At this moment, the top 4 race is not serious until late in the season. For me, it's still too early. I've seen us in the first. I've seen us.
How can it be? Hang on. Let me ask a question.
Let me finish my point.
Okay, how can it be too early?
I've seen us top of the league until December.
So let me ask you a question. But I've heard you talk about teams that are in the title race at this point. So you said that Liverpool were out of the title race after they lost they drew to Brentford. How can there be a title race but not a top 4 race at this stage?
Okay, at this point we are one of those teams in the mix. I don't think.
Okay. Do you think Mikel Arteta and Arsenal? Do you think Mikel Arteta had got this team to a point where they're good enough to maintain this consistency, the challenge for the top 4? What's your belief around that?
We still need investment in the January window because we need a better midfield to compete throughout the whole 38-game season. I think our midfield is still weak in comparison to the rest of the midfields, and that's going to be our Achilles heel.
So yes or no? That's
a no.
Okay, cool. And you said something else, and my mind's got off it now. The players you mentioned, we know are very, very good indeed. In terms of the consistency, you mentioned the consistency. I was thinking of something else to say, and your answer literally threw me off because I was thinking about the other answer that you gave before. Look, I think people are always going to banter you when you're at, but as I said on the Friday night on the Terrace show, I kind of feel like people have got to start taking Arsenal a little bit more seriously now. In terms of your manager, though, you were somebody that after the draw against Palace, like he's got to go, he isn't good enough. How impressed have you been that he has, proven people like yourself wrong? And, he's proven again that he needs to be given more time.
Continue to prove me wrong. I'll be happy. If you continue to prove me wrong and we win the league, I'm not going to complain at all. If you continue to prove me wrong and we get top 4, I'm not going to complain at all. But at the end of the day, I've seen so much downs with Arteta that I still need to see a little bit more before I can get back on the train.
Yeah, I hear you on that. And that's what I was going to ask you, but it came back to me now. On Emile Smith Rowe, how good do you think he can become? So forget what youngsters he's being spoken about in terms of his ability, and now he's adding outputs. And you notice how this is why stats matter, because he's getting the acclaim now because he's delivering at the end of it. How good do you think he could become? What sort of level? World class, top class, generational? Where do you see his ceiling? Where do you see his limits as a player?
At the moment, all you have to know is he's in the same. At the moment, the 3 goals that he scored in a row, the last player that was Arsenal under 21 to do that was Jose Antonio Reyes, Cesc Fabregas, and Nicolas Anelka. I'm not putting him in the same category as that, but what he's done is score 3 goals in a row in consecutive Premier League games. I have to see more. I want to see more. Hopefully he continues. But at this point, I genuinely believe he could be better than Jack Wilshere. I genuinely believe he could be better than Aaron Ramsey. I think if he continues to score at this rate and he stays fit, he could be better than both of them, and he could be up there. But at the moment, I think his worth to this team, he's a 70, 80 million pound player already, in my opinion. And if anyone was to try to buy him, like Villa was trying to buy him in the summer, you're ridiculous. He is up there right now, and he's a notch below the Sakas and the Fodens and everybody else. But at the moment, I would say he could reach top class. He could be top class. He could be just on the cusp of world class, but not world class.
I hear you on that. And a few people are asking, I wanted to get your opinion. I thought the referee had a shocking game today. I think
terrible.
A terrible game for both sides. He let far too many things go. Watford could have had 2 or 3 players sent off. I think Rowe escaped a book.
Could you explain the penalty? Because I tried to understand your tweet. It didn't make sense.
What penalty?
the reason why the goal was disallowed.
Okay, so essentially the offside decision was the only decision they got right today for me. A big decision. So offside is when I have to read it out again because it is a complicated element of the rule. So the offside rule is a basic rule as we all know it. Okay, it's like, because the goal line plays a big part in this. So when a player's offside when any body part except their hands and lower arm are in the opponent's half of the pitch and are closer to the goal. It's about being closer to the opponent's goal line than both the ball and the second last opponent. But the goalkeepers don't exist. So if the goalkeeper, say you've got a defender here and you're hit, it's hard to explain. The goal's here. The defender's here. Saka's in front of the defender, so he doesn't look offside. But if the goalkeeper is ahead of the ball, that defender becomes obsolete and therefore you're offside. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So if the goalkeeper is in front of the ball, it doesn't matter if there's you have to have at least two defenders behind. So if another defender would have been on the line or near the line, then it would have been onside. But it has to be two players, I think. Something like that. Honestly,
the part when you said the goalkeeper makes it obsolete makes sense. Okay, now explain to me why Danny Rose can give a penalty away, but doesn't get booked for a yellow, and then he continues to make fouls and still doesn't get sent off. I think
I completely understand. I thought Rowe should have had that done. He should have been sent off later on. I think it was a foul from Maitland-Niles on Sarr in the build up to your goal. He clattered into him. Yeah, he went to challenge for the ball. We got there late. Lucky. No, I agree. And I looked at the ref today and just thought, I didn't enjoy his performance because I felt like both teams could walk away from the match feeling hard done by. Watford will feel worse because they lost the game. But yeah, he had an absolute shocker today as well. There's no doubt about it.
You want to know the honest truth, Terry? Even though we're on this winning streak, the reality of the situation is we're not even in first gear. We're still not playing as good as we can be playing. We're still not creating good clear-cut chances. The goals that we're scoring are balls are going everywhere in the box, and someone's coming in with late run scoring like ESR did in the last 2 games. We're getting set piece goals. We're scoring from corners. I need to start seeing this team score from open play with intricate passes, do what we used to do, a little bit more of that. Because a lot of our goals are very rugged, and at times you cannot sustain that.
Your pattern of play is still the same in terms of the match. It's the first 15-20 minutes of both halves where you're brilliant. If you don't, my fear would probably be still, if you don't score in that period, it becomes a much more 50-50 game. Does that make sense? I do feel that with Arsenal, but that's like you've said, more, I don't know, maybe another purchase in January. As these players will get a bit older, a bit more experience, it will come true. Sorry? No, I heard nothing. I don't really even seek I don't even seek transfer information time of the year. EGAL, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Appreciate it, bro. Top man. Thank you much indeed. So in terms of that offside law, the way it's written is, I'll read it out word for word, is that a player is in an offside position if any part of their body, we know it doesn't mean not including their hands and lower arm, are in the opponent's half of the pitch. Remember, you can't be offside in your own half, and are closer to the goal line than both the ball and the second last opponent. So it's worded poorly, except the goalkeeper. So if Ben White's where he was today and there was 2 defenders behind the play, it would have been onside. Second last opponent, which means the last 2. Why don't they just write the last bloody 2? It makes more sense. So that's why it was offside. It's not a confusing rule. It's just an element of the offside law that very rarely happens. It very rarely comes into use. We have another super chat here that says, I win the bet. You couldn't pick up how many times you rattled off CR's name during the derby. Let's find another game, a place to bet on. In fairness, I didn't speak of him, as in I weren't talking about Ronaldo yesterday. It was just mentioning elements, but I do hear you. Maybe I misunderstood the bet. I thought you meant don't talk about him or his performance, but there we go, Debs. We'll do it again. And now I know the score and do it from there. Emile Smith-Rowe and Saka over Greenwood and Sancho. Plays in a less talented team and work hard all game. If they play in Dortmund, they will be hyped like Bellingham. Structure, management, it is key. Next on the show, Brandon is here. Brandon, a big Arsenal fan. What you saying, mate?
Yeah, I think EGAL pretty much hit the nail on the head, mate. I mean, like, I can't sit here and complain and bash the manager because at the end of the day, he's slowly starting to turn it around. 10 games unbeaten now. The only thing that concerns me is the performance level. I mean, I kind of feel like we got a bit found out by Watford today, in the sense that over these 10 unbeaten games, we've gone out in the first 15 minutes and we've piled on the pressure, and we always tend to start really quickly, as you just said. And then after that, if we don't score in that period, it starts to become like a 50-50 game, like you said. And that's the only thing that worries me a little bit. I think Watford kind of turned it into a bit of a dogfight, when really we should have moved the ball a bit quicker and we would have caused them more problems. But I can't sit here and complain. At the end of the day, I expect us to be in the race for the top four, because Mikel Arteta has his players now. These are his players. And we're starting to show consistency because he is putting a consistent starting 11 out. Over the last 3 games, we have played the same players, barring, obviously Ainsley coming in for Thomas Partey today. But it's the same players. It's the same way of playing. It's the same system. And that was his Achilles heel, I felt, last season, because he consistently changed his starting 11 all the time. It didn't look like he really knew what his strongest team was. And now that we've managed to get a system together where we've got Aubameyang and Lacazette playing in there, 2 of our main goal threats, our goal scoring, players, I think it makes us look more dangerous. I like the fact that Gabriel and Ben White are starting to build a bit of a partnership at the back as well. I know what I said about Ben White, but again, he's slowly starting to prove me wrong to a degree.
I find interesting. I want to say about that. Look, I like to have a little bit of fun and whatever. And with social media, people get called out. You get called out when you're wrong, and very rarely do you get flowers when you're right about things. What I find interesting is the Arteta inners and Arteta outers, to a degree, are both wrong. And what I'm going to say, I mean, it's alive in the sense of they're wrong. The argument becomes about their opinion over what was being said. Like you're saying there, a lot of the things you were asking for Arteta to do, he wasn't doing. Therefore, you were Arteta out. He's now doing them, so he's changing your mind. But then the Arteta inners are like, see, you were wrong. It's like, I wasn't wrong. He wasn't doing these things, and he now is, as an example. So there's almost this element of the fight becomes about who was right about the manager or not, as opposed to, well, I'm not getting what I wanted or I did. Some people are like, actually, I'm just going to put this is, and it could go the other way, by the way. You could be in the top 4 race until March and then have the worst end to the season you've had in 10 years and finish 8th again.
But
and
also,
then I'll say, and then it'd be like, well, Ollie inners, but Arteta inners. It's like, well, you were wrong because you said you were going to challenge and you didn't. It's like, yeah, but I thought I was because of the improvements I saw. It's so hard to get it right. And there's nothing wrong with backing your manager and whatever. But sometimes people don't listen to why people are not happy or why they're backing them. And it's just, well, you are backing him, you're wrong. Or you're not backing him, you're wrong. It's like, well, have you listened to the reasoning as to why? I think that's the real key factor for me.
Exactly.
Yeah, go on, mate.
But also, Terry, let's not get it twisted either, right? I'm by no means Arteta in, at the moment. He's to me, he has to get top 4 this season for me to even think about changing my mind, because he's had long enough in the job. He's got his own players, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we're in the argument for top 4 at the moment, but can we maintain the consistency? We've got a very young squad. I would say that might be a little bit of an Achilles heel towards the end of the season, but then at the same time, we're not in Europe, so we're only playing 1 game a week, so there shouldn't really be any real excuse.
I hear you. I think you're spot on. Sorry, go on. Finish.
At the same time as well, though, Terry, let's not get it twisted. Out of all of these games that we've played during this unbeaten run, there's only 1 game that I didn't necessarily expect to win, and that was Leicester. The rest of the teams that we've played, I expect to beat Aston Villa. I expect to beat Watford. I expect to beat Norwich, Burnley. It's just like, so I'm not going to get myself too carried away. We've got a tough run of fixtures after the international break, and we'll see what happens from there.
I hear you, mate. Brandon, top man, thanks for coming on and having your say. Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. And look, as I said before, everybody will have an opinion. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. What doesn't get discussed enough is people's rationale and their reasoning. I'll give you an example away from Arsenal. When Neeks was supporting Ollie, it was just he wanted to see a manager given what he needed, and to see whether or not he could deliver. Someone will go, yeah, but I always said he wasn't good enough. Yeah, great, but that wasn't how I wanted things to be done. You're allowed to not want to do things in the same way as a fellow fan. I think we get too bogged down. We become too binary, and it becomes very simplistic with no nuance or gray areas of either in or out. But why does someone want him in? Why does somebody want him out? And I think that for me is the bigger talking point that gets ignored a little bit too much. Alan here says, is the phrase second phase of play? That isn't the phrase, Alan, but thank you very much for the guess, my friend. We had a super chat that came in from Brooke, sorry. Brooke says, Arteta lucky to survive after last season, but he seems to be getting things right now. Is the answer class is permanent? That's such a good guess. It's not right, but it's a really good guess. I'm giving away clues here without actually saying things, but it's a very good guess, my friend. Is the phrase fade away? It isn't fade away. So again, I like that though. Gooner Dan here says Arteta has done a good job. First season where he has been backed this year. Last season, far too many Edu signings. This year, all Arteta's players, in my opinion. Danny's very happy there indeed. Next up on the show, Gooner Express is here with me. What you saying, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy, bro. I mean, look, we're winning games again, and that's the main thing. No, before anyone tries to ask, I'm not Arteta in yet. And no, I'm not going to get overexcited. I think EGAL summed it up perfectly. I'm happy with what's going on. We're moving in the right direction. We're showing consistency on and off the pitch because, we're seeing positive things in terms of the players we're linked with, to the positions that we're linked with, to the business that we might be doing in January. So as an Arsenal fan, I'm happy. We're winning games. We're keeping clean sheets. We're not conceding too much. We're showing, better defensive and attacking attributes. The only thing I complain about today is Aubameyang. It should have been at least 4-0 today if he plays better, if he scores the penalty, if he has a better touch for the offside goal. It wasn't a bad performance. We also missed Thomas Partey, who I say is the most important player. So I'll give Arteta some, slack for that. Like, we didn't have the most important player today. And again, the main test now is Liverpool. I said this, I've been saying this for a while now. Liverpool's the main test. Against City and Chelsea, we didn't have a lot of the main players. So I can see why we didn't play well against them, even though I still think we should have played a bit better. But now against Liverpool, we've got the players. Everybody's fit. So I expect a decent performance. I'm not expecting to win or, dominate Liverpool, but I'm expecting a good performance. If we lose, as long as we play well and show that we have to fight, then it's not that bad a loss. But again, I'm happy with the win. And that's the main thing. As long as we're winning and getting points, we can't complain. We're fifth in the table, above Man United. So I'm happy, man.
And mate, listen, I think you're absolutely spot on to have that approach. I really, really do. And listen, as you say, above Manchester United, West Ham are likely to lose. They're very likely to lose against Liverpool. That's kicking off in a few moments' time. And it puts you into a very commanding position then. And again, this is where, everyone's going to have different thoughts and feelings. My view is a corner has been turned. My view is you've got a very good, young, vibrant team. Now, yes, they're young, but you've only got one game a week, barring when there's like 2 Premier League games in the week. But then that's the same for everybody. You've got no Europe. All that being said, the expectations now should be from the position you built from the opening quarter of the season, you push for that top 4. Maybe coming 5th is still good enough for some people, but I think if he was to push and come close to top 4 and make it, I would say there'd be a massive change in emotion and feeling towards him. If he falls away and doesn't challenge for it, then again, you might go, do you know what? The squad's been built, well done there, but now we need to move to another level of manager. And I think most Arsenal fans would probably agree with that sort of space. Gooner Express, top man for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate it, bro. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Scott's coming on next to tell us his thoughts and his feelings on this game. So I'm just looking for a comment. Is the phrase class is temporary? Form is temporary, class is permanent. It isn't from the wheelchair Gooner, but again, another very good guess. Jezza says, Terry, Arsenal are above you. Yeah, and it will be a few weeks' time and another 2 or 3 teams would be above us. Man United will not challenge for the top 4 with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as the manager. It's broken, it's destroyed, and these teams should be above us with the way we're playing. So, yeah, that's another conversation for another day. Scott's here now. What are you saying, bro?
Hello, mate. Thanks for having us on. Yeah, I mean, I've just listened to the guys who've already come on and made some really, really good points. And I feel I'm very, very similar thought process in that I'm happy with the points. And points, you know, is the most important thing. I had a debate the other day on my channel when somebody said to me that performances are more important than points. And I said, no, you get points. And if the performance comes as a, you know, on top of that, then that makes me happy and it'll is good going forward. But one of the things I'm starting to notice with this team now in recent weeks is that our B game or our poor performances, because I don't think today was great. I didn't, it was an enjoyable game to watch for a number of different reasons, but our B game is not necessarily always winning, but it's not a guaranteed defeat. And I think in the last 18 months or so, when we're not turning up, things aren't going our way. You know, there was an opportunity there. Ramsdale made a mistake that if that was Leno, it probably would have gone in. It's just kind of how it happens, you know. Like Ramsdale, everything he's touching at the moment turns to gold. And the only mistake he made, he got away with, which is great. But GOONER Express made a good point, and one of the things I wanted to highlight was that we should have been out of sight today. Aubameyang was really, really poor. Not because he missed a penalty, because, listen, people miss penalties. But I never feel confident when it's a big game, or at least a penalty that's going to change the outcome of a game, when he steps up. For me, if Laka's on the pitch, Laka should be taking it. He's got a better record. Feel like he's got more composure. And I've said as well, with penalties, I mean, I'd be interested to know what your thoughts on this is, Terry. But with a penalty, I've always said, if you're confident enough to put it high, top left, top right, Harry Kane's brilliant at it, you're going to score. Like, you can't miss a penalty if you keep it on target and you go top left or top right, because no goalkeeper will ever dive up. They always dive down. So the moment that you decide that you're going to keep it low and you're going to go left or right, there's a 50% chance the goalkeeper's going to get it. If you go down the centre like Aubameyang did today, if you don't get it down the centre with enough power, the goalkeeper leaves a trailing leg out, excuse me, and saves it. Now, I always think to myself, why do strikers just not learn constantly? Just go top corner, just be confident, hit that top corner. As long as you get on target, you score. But today, it wasn't about the penalty miss for Aubameyang. You know, the goal that was ruled out at the beginning with Saka, that wasn't an assist. You know, he tried to do something about it. The touch was poor. As a result, it then obviously went through to Saka and it was offside. But that's not a confident Aubameyang, and this is something we're seeing quite regularly. 2 years ago, I think Aubameyang scores that. Football intelligence, I've always said, and some people on my channel say I've got an Aubameyang agenda. I really haven't. I really respect everything he's done for the club. But football intelligence isn't there sometimes for him, and he makes poor mistakes. And I know as a striker, I'm a striker myself, your instinct is get a touch on it, make sure the ball goes in. I don't know if conclusively whether that was going in. I haven't seen, the replay didn't show it, so I don't know on the second, the goal that was ruled out, the second one, whether Ødegaard would have got the goal if Aubameyang hadn't got a touch on it. But even outside of those two things, Aubameyang for me is still not being consistent enough. And as a captain and going forward, I want to see more from him, to be honest with you.
I've heard a few people say look, I'm a big fan. I am a big fan of Aubameyang. I think he's a very, very good player. But yeah, the penalty things, I mean, he scored the one against Villa, but it was saved. It was only because the rebound came to him. It's two on the bounce. You have to move on to somebody else, because, you know, if you do keep pushing and fighting for this top four position, those kind of moments can be absolutely key. You know, Watford are a poor team. You know, a slightly better team today. Who knows what could have happened with the performance level? I'm really intrigued to see how you guys do against Liverpool after the international break. To see whether I think you might surprise a lot of fans and be quite competitive in that game. May not necessarily win, but we'll see. But you'll need the likes of Aubameyang to be on point for those games, because you'll be like the.
It's got to be clinical. Because you're only going to get one chance. Yeah, one or two chances.
Absolutely. Listen, my bro, really appreciate you coming on and having your say, mate. Really, really appreciate it. Speak to you soon. Cheers, Scott. Thank you. Is the phrase world class? It is not. Look, that's the end of the show today. We're back live after West Ham Liverpool. I'm live this evening as well. Some interesting news about Man United's managerial situation that I want to bring to you. I've been talking to journalists all day, some different people involved with the clubs, with linked managers. So we're going to go through some of that in more detail tonight. I'll see you in about an hour and a half at the end of West Ham versus Liverpool. Until then, take care. Goodbye. God bless.